Good evening, everyone. My name is Maurya Hanspal, and today we're going to talk about fundamental analysis. What exactly is fundamental analysis, and why fundamental analysis is so important in the context of stock markets? You might have heard in a lot of CNBC TV news and Z business channels people talking about the fundamentals of the company that go after the fundamentals of the company, right? So we'll be talking about what exactly are the fundamentals of the company through fundamental analysis. But before talking about fundamental analysis, let's try to understand the difference between trading and investing. And further, understand the difference between fundamental analysis and technical analysis so that your people can make a easy differentiation between fundamental and technical analysis as well as trading and investing. So when we talk about trading is basically for a shorter period of time. You buy on the same day and you sell on the same day in order to make a certain amount of profit. Trading can also be based on speculation as well. Technical analysis helps you in the context of trading. You might have seen on various social media channels as well as on Instagram or Telegram. A large number of portals or a large number of people show you a chart pattern. That is, like when to buy the stock or when to sell the stock. They give you a buying signal and a selling signal on the basis of a certain pattern. Like these kinds of patterns might be quite familiar to you. You might not understand these patterns in this stage, but these kind of patterns, I'm damn sure you people might have seen this. They show you these kinds of patterns and they tend to tell you that the market is going to rise in future. The market is going on an upward trend. So when we see this graph or this line chart, we can basically see that our company, our target company, that is the Nestle India, is in a rising trend. Even if we go to the left hand side and we take the trend line and we join the shortest point to the largest point, it shows a rising trend. So on the basis of this, a large number of people can predict that the stock price of Nestle will rise in future. And on the basis of that, they can trade on Nestle. Though there are a large number of other indicators as well for trading, but to have in short, technical analysis through these patterns helps you to undertake trading. But when you go for investing, investing is for a longer period of time, maybe for more than 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, or 15, 20 years. The main difference between trading and investing is trading is for a shorter period of time, maybe a single day, whereas investing is for a longer period of time. Just invest in companies and keep your money invested in those companies for a longer period of time. But make note of one thing. Investing in a company without noticing how strong the company is, or does the company really have a sustainable future? If you are not taking into consideration these factors, then that concept of investing will not give you returns. And there the concept of fundamental analysis comes into place. Again, the major difference between trading and investing. Trading is for a shorter period of time, maybe a single day, whereas investing is for a longer period of time, more than 1 year, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you name it. Technical analysis through these chart patterns or trend analysis is shown in trading, is helpful in trading, whereas fundamental analysis will be more helpful for longer term investing. So now let's talk about what exactly is fundamental analysis. As the name suggests, fundamental. Fundamental analysis talks about the basic crux of the company, the core value of the company on which the company has been built. Fundamental analysis tells you that the value on which your company was built, is that value still in continuation? Will that value be sustainable in order to get more returns for the company? Fundamental analysis talks about the past performance or the past history of the company and tries to predict the future of the company on the basis of certain microeconomic as well as macroeconomic factors. By microeconomic factors, we tend to take into consideration some small individual factors which the company can control to a certain extent. Maybe a small demand of a single person or a single community. But by macroeconomic factors, we mean to say large aggregate demand or large factors which the company cannot control. Be it your changes in the inflation, be it your changes in the interest rate. So, how these factors in the past have affected the company? Have they affected the company in a good way? Is the past performance of the company good or bad? On the basis of such past performance, we can predict the future of the company. And if the company is strong, if the company has a sustainable future, we can go on investing into that company for a longer period of time. That is why fundamental analysis is so beneficial for long term investing. It tells you how strong the company is. Because in this COVID-19 pandemic, when in 2019 March it began, the market was all down, be it anything, be it any sector, be it any industry or stock. At that time, people started to buy the companies, started to buy the stocks of the companies. They bought any of the companies. They closed their eyes and they bought any of the shares. But they did not look into the fundamentals of the company. And now, when the market had started to correct from the past 3 to 4 weeks, the stocks which were not fundamentally strong, they began to fall. Whereas those companies who are fundamentally strong, they might fall, but they might rise to a greater extent in future because those companies are strong. Then how can you determine? How can you get to know how strong a company is? How can you get to know about it? The one way which I use is to know from a large set of companies. Like, for example, you have 100 of companies or 200 of companies being traded, right? Out of those companies, how many companies you use daily? I mean to say, how many companies or the products of how many companies you use on a daily basis, be it anything. Like, for example, you might be using the products of Britannia, be it the Britannia biscuits or jams. You might be using the products of Nestle, right? You might be using the products of various other brands as well, be it Parle. You might be using like Colgate or various other FMCG products, your soaps and Head and Shoulders, your Pantene, various other cosmetics of the brands, be it HUL, be it the Marico, of which you have that parachute oil. All these products that you use daily and you cannot live without these products are of those companies which are sustainable, who have a sustainable growth. I agree. One most important way is looking into the annual report of the company. I agree. Looking at the annual report of the company tells you how much the company is making. Is the company making profit? Is the company making losses? Is the company having cash flows? How many assets the company has? How many like liabilities the company has to repay? But not anyone can analyze the annual report of the company in a very short period of time, right? So if someone is going into the market and buying the stocks of the company, and if someone has no idea how to read the annual report, one must see, am I using this company in a daily basis? And if this company goes off, if this company becomes invisible, then which product I might use? All the products on which you are dependent on 24/7, without which you cannot live, are a classic example of companies which have a sustainable future. Be it Nestle, Parle, and Britannia. HUL, you buy the fast moving consumer goods. ITC, the Indian Tobacco Company, and various other companies you have on the brand of which you buy the products, right? The various other famous products, be it from your technological industry or be it like big companies which cannot go. Like, for example, we can take the classic example of Infosys. Like, they were responsible for making the income tax collection system as well as the GST system. From this, we know that everyone is dependent on these companies. Big brands you can go for. Like, for example, you have the car brands in India. You have Tata, you have Maruti. And you know, a large number of people are buying the cars of Tata and Maruti. as compared to Hyundai and various other cars as well. So going to the luxury segment is one thing, but an ideal average man is going to buy cars from the companies of Maruti and Tata. If Maruti and Tata do not exist, then how would one be able to buy a small car at a cheaper price? Right? Then these companies were day to day. These companies, be it your Hero Motor Corp, like for two wheelers. So all these companies which you see all around you on a daily basis, and you cannot justify your existence without these companies, or you find it difficult to carry forward your life like without these companies. Those companies are strong and fundamentally strong companies. So I would say one thing कि जिन चीजों के बिना तुम नहीं रह सकते, be it your cosmetics, be it your fast moving consumer goods, be it an options to buy a cheap car, or be it to buy some milk brands, or be it to buy anything that you buy on a daily basis, your Colgate, your Pepsodent. Okay, the Colgate belongs to the Colgate Palmolive company, your Pepsodent, be it from HUL or various other brands, right? Keep those brands in your portfolio, and that brands won't vanish away very easily. That is the main thing of fundamental analysis. Go for strong companies first to have a brand image, and out of which you cannot survive, or it is difficult for you to survive without these companies. Your daily companies, right? These as the basic proposition or the basic crux analysis of fundamental analysis. Now, talking about the second, that is the annual report of the company. A large number of people believe that reading and analyzing the annual report of the company is only the task of auditors or CAs or CS. That is completely wrong. But when these annual reports are given to a person, right, in a normal job, not being a core finance job, then a lot of people complained that analyzing this report is only the task of a quite proficient person. This is not so. A large number of annual report analysis projects are given to students in colleges. And there also, students do not know how to analyze the annual report, how to compare it with the other annual report. Reading, understanding, and analyzing the annual report is too simple. No one is saying you to prepare an annual report. No one is saying you to see that whether the annual report is correct or wrong. No one is saying you to audit the annual report until and unless you are an auditor or a CA or a CS. You just have to analyze the annual report, just read it, and have some basic knowledge on finance with strong accounting and finance background. That's it. You need nothing apart from that. Okay, though we do not have much time to analyze the whole annual report in detail, but we'll try to see what an annual report is. Okay. So basically what people open the annual report for, they open it for the statement of P&L, that is the statement of profit and loss, which is also called the income statement. So the statement of profit and loss, it helps you to analyze that how much profit the company has earned, or is the company into losses. Higher the profitability the company is earning from the past years, it is a very good indicator for the company. Higher the profit, it is good for the company. Balance sheet. Balance sheet is also called the position statement. It is a statement of assets and liabilities that the company has. And of course, assets are something that we own, and liabilities are something that we owe. So understand the difference between these two, own and owe. O का मतलब है जो हमको चुकानी है, we have to pay them back. So simple common sense, our assets that we have, maybe in the form of plant machinery, our cash, our bank balances, that must be more than the liabilities we have to pay. मतलब हमारे पास इतने assets, cash amount, bank balance होना चाहिए कि हम अपने debts and liabilities को pay off कर सकें. If we have less assets and liabilities are more, then that could be a negative indicator for the company. So the assets must be more for the life as compared to the liabilities of the company. Okay. Third, we have the cash flow statement. The cash flow statement shows you the performance of the company, at how much cash the company has. If the company is increasing its cash reserves, then it's a very positive indicator for the company. And I can guarantee you that cash flow statement is a better indicator than P&L statement. Because from the cash flow statement, you get to know how much cash the company has actually received in the case of free cash flows. Now, we do not have time to calculate the free cash flows, but I will tell you why are the free cash flows, which can be obtained from the statement of cash flow, are so important as compared to the statement of P&L. Right? Let's take a small example. If I have sold a certain amount of stationery to a third party or to a second party, okay, and I made a profit of 200 rupees on that. Just imagine my cost of purchasing that stationery was 100 rupees and I sold that stationery at 300 rupees to a second party. I earned a profit of 200 rupees straightforward. But what is the proof that 200 I have actually received? Right? It might happen that the second person or the customer of mine has said me that I will pay you 200 rupees after 1 month, after 15 days, or after like a few period of time. Right? But a company would show that 200 rupees ka profit on its statement of P&L, despite the company has actually got or received that 200 rupees as a cash or in the bank account. That profit in the P&L statement will show you again that 200 rupees cash मिला है या नहीं मिला है. But free cash flows में क्या होगा? 200 rupees जब मिलेंगे तभी that free cash flow would be recorded as 200 rupees. Until and unless you do not get that 200 rupees, चाहे 1 साल बाद मिले, 2 साल बाद मिले, चाहे 2 दिन बाद मिले, वो 200 rupees would be recorded at that time only when you actually get that 200 rupees. But in profit and loss statement, you might have some debtors, इन्होंने 200 rupees नहीं दिए हैं. Okay. So that 200 rupees would still be shown in statement of P&L because that is not a free cash flow statement. Okay. And that is how the companies try to manipulate their P&L statement. They show you a large amount of profits in crores, in millions and billions, but their cash flow is negative. So make note of one thing. When you see the profit and loss of a company, right, in positives in a large number, also try to see the free cash flows of the company. Is it positive or negative? Agar negative hai, so be cautioned about the company. And I will tell you how to see the free cash flows from the annual report as well in a quick way. Then you have the statement of changes in equity that basically shows how much equity, that is shares, or the equity capital company की बड़ी है या कम हुई है, कितने से बड़ी है, कितने से कम हुई है. So that's a not so important statement. Okay. So let's open the annual report of Nestle. So this is the annual report of Nestle. So let's go through this annual report in a quick manner, while taking into consideration the time constraint that we have. Okay, so this is the annual report. So it would begin with the chairman or the CFOs or the CEO statements to the company. And that is all theoretical and basic English that you people can read quite easily. And इसमें कुछ as such कोई calculation नहीं, कोई financial accountability या कोई भी advanced calculation नहीं है. That is just how the company is running, that when was the company formed and what products the company is offering and how much growth it is expecting and for sustainable business. Okay, so that is one more thing. Okay, nowadays, a lot of companies have started to focus on sustainable themes. वो बोलते हैं कि instead of focusing only on the profitability, we would also focus on those themes that can provide a sustainable future. Be it a renewable energy theme, a clean energy theme, maybe a clean water, avoiding the water pollution, avoiding the air pollution, and all those practices that led to a lot of pollution from the companies through their chimneys or factories, they've started to reduce them. And these things also portray a good image in the front of the people as well. They see the company is making the profit, but not at the expense of the environment. And when the company is earning profit, not at the expense of environment, again, they get a lot of like a subsidiaries and subsidies and benefits from the government as well. So that is nothing but to portray a good image in society. And that is what like sustainable business is. तो यहाँ पे तुमको लाइक सब मिल जाएगा कि सस्टेनेबल बिजनेस के लिए कंपनी क्या कर रही है. ठीक है, लाइक द वैल्यू ग्रोथ ऑफ द कंपनी, दैट हाउ मच ग्रोथ द कंपनी इज एक्सपेक्टिंग. I might go a little fast because we have like limited time for the session. Then brands, like you might have seen this ad on the television as well of KitKat, and these are like some of the brands like Nescafe. And Maggie, as I told, because a lot of people in India, okay, are like dependent on Maggie and Nescafe, and these are brands of Nestle. And if Nestle goes out of the area, if Nestle goes shut, then a lot of people would be in trouble. कि like Maggie nahi hai and Nescafe nahi hai, right? So this shows a clear indicator of the products. So from this, you will get to know about the products, like some of the history of the company from all these statements, initiatives. Yes, they have their different initiatives, like the project Vriddhi they have, or like some kind of initiatives that they have done for the communities, for the planet, how they're able to sustain the rural people, and वहाँ पे वो क्या commodities कर रहे हैं provide, and कितने prices पे कर रहे हैं provide. So all this you get to know, and these are like different projects. Like in HUL, you have the project Shakti. In ITC, you have the project E-Chopal. That is basically to guide and mentor the rural people and to increase their sustainability. So all these projects have been mentioned. Okay. So this is all theoretical. Further, like when we go to a certain, I have certain facts for you. Let's go to a certain page. Here we get about the management analysis. So management analysis is one of the most important thing that people should read about. It tells about the management view about the organization, that how has the management done and what is the outlook of the management for the company in future. So management analysis padna chahiye. Then there is the director responsibility statement, an auditor statement is also there. And the auditor statement, see, the CSR activities I was talking about, the corporate social responsibility activities, which helps to portray a good image. Then, like these auditors report. So, the auditors are basically, they are responsible to tell the general public कि जो annual report है, is it good or bad? Has it been compiled according to the whole procedures of finance and accounting, or there is some intention of fraud? So reading an auditor's report is again very important. Okay. So these things you should know. And then we talk about the balance sheet. See, like these statements I was talking about. We have the balance sheet of the company that shows you the assets. So in this case, your current assets, your non-current assets, your total assets, which have been like 7582. Then you have these liabilities, you have your total liabilities. Okay. And you need to see that if your liabilities are more than your assets. Here we have the total figure of equity and liabilities. So do not compare this figure with this figure of total assets. Okay. You need to have total of only the liabilities. And when you see the total, try to analyze. Agar assets zyada hain, it is good for the company. Agar liabilities zyada hain, then be caution. Then you have this P&L statement. You have these revenues. First, you have incomes. Incomes may say you subtract your expenses and then you get your profit. And this fact we learned in like yesterday's session for financial literacy as well. That is income minus expenses, you have the profit. Right? And then you have this cash flow statement is there with you. That shows you the cash flows. हम डिटेल में नहीं जाएंगे क्या क्या है. But cash flow statement is basically showing you how much cash the company has. Okay. And free cash flows कैसे निकालोगे? See, you have this net cash flow from the operating activities, which are basically the operations में से कितना पैसा आ रहा है, जो कंपनी की core activities है. The principal revenue producing activities में से कितना पैसा आ रहा है. Then you have these cash flows from investing activities. These are basically you have invested, that you have purchased an asset or plant and machinery or sold them. Then you have the cash flow from financing activity. This is basically your interest payment obligations कि लोन पे तुम कितना इंटरेस्ट पे कर रहे हो एंड कितना इंटरेस्ट तुमको मिल रहा है. ठीक है. अब फ्री कैश फ्लो तुम कैसे निकाल सकते हो? यू कैन सी दिस ऑपरेटिंग कैश फ्लो इज 22,336. इसमें से सब्ट्रैक्ट योर कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर. अब कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर तुम सब्ट्रैक्ट कैसे करोगे? यू हैव दिस परचेज ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी प्लांट एंड इक्विपमेंट एंड दैट इज एन इन्वेस्टिंग कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर फ्रॉम योर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू और फ्रॉम द कंपनीज पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. Okay, so 1545 ko when you will subtract from 22336, you will get a positive number, right? We have more operating cash flow. तुम्हारा operating cash flow ज़्यादा है as compared to this machinery का amount, है ना? And जब तुम ये वाला amount तुम 22336 से minus करोगे, you will get a positive figure. It shows your free cash flow is a positive figure, right? That you can calculate from the cash flow statement directly. That is how you can calculate your free cash flows operating activities में से subtract this property, plant and equipment का capital expenditure. That is in a way you can get an estimate of the free cash flow, not an accurate figure. Exact same नहीं होगी. उसके लिए you might have to make certain adjustments. But to have a certain number, एक idea जानने के लिए कि positive है या नहीं है, you can use this. Okay. Then you have this notes to accounts. In the notes to accounts now, you'll get to know everything. Like for example, if you scroll up to the P&L statement. In the P&L statement, you can see there are certain like a few numericals written in notes. वो बोल रहा है कि sale of products अब 32 वाले इस note पर जाओ. Other income, go to the note number 26. So this will tell you this other income का amount तो ठीक है. But this will tell you from which sources you have got the other income. Okay. So basically these notes are essential if you want to know and if you want to like dig deep into these figures. You want to know कि sale of products कौन से products बिके. Other income ये लिखी है but कहाँ से आई. ठीक है. So if we go like for example to note number 26, 24 पे पहुंच गए हम. 26. So it shows you other income कहाँ से आई. That other income you got from the interest on bank deposits, interest on tax-free bonds, and dividend on mutual funds. ठीक है. Cost of materials था. कौन से materials थे? एक raw materials था, एक packing materials था. Right? So all these things, if you want to know in detail, because these statements, be it P&L, be it balance sheet, or be it cash flow, will just give you a lump sum figure. But if you want to know that which factor in the lump sum figure is contributing the most, other income अगर बढ़ रही है, if your other income is increasing, then due to which factor your other income is increasing. So we can see due to the interest on bank deposits, investment and employee loans, because this is the maximum amount 1832. It means it comprises the maximum share. तो company को other income बढ़ाने के लिए should focus on this more as compared to like these interest on tax-free bonds or dividend on mutual funds. So that is one thing. So देखकर तुम्हें पता चलता है कि which factor is helping you to have more income. Because income तो बहुत sources से आ सकती है, but कौन सा ऐसा source है जिससे you are getting the maximum income? कौन सा ऐसा product है Nestle का from which you are getting the maximum income? So that product should be more emphasized upon. उसकी sales बढ़ाओ. And that goes for same business. Okay. देखो ये प्रोडक्ट वो बोल रहा है कि मिल्क प्रोडक्ट्स यू हैव दिस प्रिपेयर्ड डिशेस एंड कुकिंग एड्स में से लाइक 264 आ रहा है, राइट. फॉर मिल्क प्रोडक्ट्स यू आर गेटिंग दैट 138 एंड 941. तो लाइक प्रिपेयर्ड डिशेस एंड कुकिंग एड्स से यू आर गेटिंग द मैक्सिमम वन. तो फोकस ऑन दिस मोर एज कंपेयर टू अदर्स, राइट. एंड देन फर्दर यू हैव this is all about the CSR activities of the company, all theory, that clean drinking water initiatives, how to build a healthier life, that water conservation programs, all this you can read. But this is not just about like kind of analyzing the annual report. You need to analyze the annual report in detail. You must need to see each and every figure in the annual report and try to analyze that which factor is contributing the most. Each and everything you need to see. Okay. So that were like some part of the statements that we did. And due to the time constraint, we tried to analyze the overview of this annual report. Okay. One thing before leaving, I would like to stress on moats. Starting में मैंने बोला था कि look for those companies who have a sustainable future. तो यहाँ पर हमारा आते हैं moats. Moats are the competitive advantages, or we can say the core competencies which can transform into competitive advantages. मतलब ऐसे एडवांटेजेस, ऐसी पावर्स हैं कंपनी के पास, ऐसी स्किल्स हैं कंपनी के पास, या ऐसा कंपनी काम करती है which cannot be copied by other companies. And if some other company is copying, it is very difficult for them to do so. That we call them as moats. So look for moats. So let's start from the below one. Let's start with engagement. Okay. So engagement का मतलब क्या है? Engagement mode. It means how much engagement the product of the company is able to create. जो मैं starting में बोल रहा था, उन products के बिना तुम नहीं रह सकते. अगर रहोगे भी तो it would be quite difficult for you to live. For example, the fast moving consumer goods, be it your soap, shampoo, Maggi, right? Maggie is quite common. So those products which have captured the heart of the people and it is quite difficult for you to leave them is the engagement mode. When you talk about the switching cost, switching cost is something which is should be high. Why? Like for example, if you are using a certain product, एक certain तुम product को use कर रहे हो, then it should not be easy for you to leave that product, to stop purchasing that product and buy the same product from some other company. मतलब कि product same है, but जिस company से you are buying the product, उस company को छोड़ के you are buying the product from different company, तो ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. So that product must offer some certain features, advantages to you कि तुम छोड़ के ना जाओ. Like for example, the classic example we can take in terms of banks. Ignore the fintech as of now. We are talking about the traditional banks. If you have opened a bank, if you have opened a bank account किसी एक बैंक में, it takes a lot of time अगर आपको अपना बैंक अकाउंट किसी और बैंक अकाउंट में करना है शिफ्ट. ठीक है, you have a lot of formalities and paperwork and shifting your amount to other bank from one bank to other bank. It takes a lot of time. And ideal इंसान के पास इतना टाइम नहीं होता है. So that is the switching cost which banks possess. बैंक अकाउंट खुल गया तो खुल गया. चेंज करवाना है किसी और बैंक अकाउंट में तो बहुत टाइम लगेगा. बहुत मतलब कि पेपर वर्क होगा एंड ये सब होगा. Then you have this lower operating cost. It is basically if a company is able to produce a large number of products at a lower cost. It is the fact of lower operating cost or what we call as economies of scale. जितना ज्यादा तुम प्रोड्यूस करोगे, your per unit cost will tend to reduce. And ये ज्यादा बड़ी कंपनीज में होता है because their per unit cost of manufacturing is very less because they have a large number of resources, machinery and money and they have been producing it for over the years, right? Then you have the distribution network. It tells you how strong the distribution of your company is. क्या आपका डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन बस एक स्टेट में है, क्या आप बस पंजाब में सेल करते हो, बस दिल्ली में अपने प्रोडक्ट्स को सेल करते हो, या यू सेल योर प्रोडक्ट्स ऑल ओवर इंडिया, हर स्टेट में, हर सिटी में, हर अदर स्मॉल सी स्मॉल विलेज में, इवन इन द रूरल एरियाज एज वेल आपके जाते हैं प्रोडक्ट्स एंड इंटरनेशनली भी जाते हैं. As we can see in the case of HUL, ITC, Nestle, they even serve for the people for rural areas, for villages. Parle, they sell their products at 1 rupees or 2 rupees or 5 rupees in these small villages. तो जितना बड़ा नेटवर्क है, जितना बड़ा आप डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन नेटवर्क कर सकते हो, that is best for the company. Then you have the regulatory licenses. It means the larger number of patents, copyrights company के पास हैं, the larger number of government का protection the company enjoys that no other company can take. अगर पेटेंट है तो पेटेंट बस अपना है and no other company can copy it. If you have these kinds of licenses, patents for technologies, it is best for you. No other company can take your charm. And the last one is the network effect. How large you can create your network. How many people can get to know your brand. How many people cannot live without your brand. Within your own one company, how many brands you have. How many sub-brands you have. And the classic example of this company is InfoEdge. You might not know like about InfoEdge. So let's go to the InfoEdge. Let me open this link. So these are the certain brands that the company owns. You might have heard about the Naukri.com, जहाँ पे people search for jobs. Naukri Gulf, First Naukri. You have the 99 acres. That is for like buying the property or renting the property. That Jeevansathi.com is quite famous for managing stuff and all. That Shiksha for the education programs. You might know all these brands कि Naukri.com है, 99acres.com है, Shiksha है, Jeevansathi है. But a very few people know that these all are the brands of InfoEdge. InfoEdge, a strong tech internet company. These all are the brands of InfoEdge. That is why InfoEdge is able to create a large network effect. उसके अंदर के brands ही इतने ज़्यादा popular हो गए हैं कि लोगों को company का नाम भी नहीं पता. The company is sustaining because of the name of its brands and not by its own name. Right? So this is a classic example of a network effect that the company can portray. Okay. So this is how we try to analyze the fundamental analysis in detail. Okay. And we also got to know that how to go and for like which company to go for and which mode to choose and whether to take the company has a good sustainable advantage or not, right? To look for the specific modes of the company. So that is one thing you must look for analyzing a company in detail. And that was all we talked about the fundamental analysis today. Okay. And also in the further like the subsequent sessions will be also be coming up with like some different modes of ratios and valuations in the subsequent sections as well. Okay. So that was all for today and see you in the subsequent sessions. So good luck.